I think this is a very important point to keep in mind, that it's impossible to read the Quran without the Sunnah. And it's very interesting, there is no sect of Islam, not in Sunni Islam, not in Shiite Islam, not even Ismaili Shiites, not even Ismailis say that the Quran should be read alone. There's one translation actually of the Quran. I found it very interesting when I read it. It's by actually a Turkish scholar, but he lives in the United States. He lives in Arizona. His name is Edip Yüksel. And he has a translation of the Quran called the Reformist Quran, the Reformist Quran. And he says that this is the first Quran-only translation of the Quran. That doesn't rely on any hadiths. It doesn't rely on any tradition, where you just get the wisdom of the Quran alone through the Quran. And he says, the author or the translator says, that in order to understand the Quran, he only looks at the way that the Quran uses words in different locations. So if I don't know what the word means in this verse, I look at other verses where the word appears, and that way I understand it. And sometimes I actually appreciate it, but sometimes he's very honest. So, for example, the Quran says, we give you Kawthar. What is Kawthar? He says, I have no idea what Kawthar is. Because there's no way for him to tell. And I thought, wow, maybe I've come across the first really honest Quran-only book, where this person, he says, I'm only going to use the Quran, and really I'm only going to use the Quran. But then I found something which revealed that inconsistency, that inevitable inconsistency that will always trip up, will reveal the weakness of the Quran-only approach. In the concept of dhihar. Those in Surah Al-Mujadala, those amongst you who do dhihar, yudahiruna, of their women, they are not their mothers. Now, this doesn't make any sense if you're just using Arabic grammar. If you go and you look this verb dhahara, yudahiru, if you look at all the other places in the Quran where this word is used, it means to grant assistance to somebody. But in the beginning of Surah Al-Mujadala, it talks about those people who do dhihar to their wives. They're not their mothers. And if those people who do dhihar to their wives take their wives back, then they have to free a slave. So how did this translator understand the meaning of the verse? He looked in Arabic dictionaries and looked up dhahara, and he said one of the meanings is to say to your wife, you're like the back of my mother to me, which is a way of the pre-Islamic Arabs would divorce their wives. And the Quran basically disapproves of this act. So this translator could say, but I didn't look at hadiths, I didn't look at the Sunnah of the Prophet, I looked at a dictionary. The problem is, where do you think Arabic dictionaries came from? Arabic dictionaries today come from earlier Arabic dictionaries, and earlier Arabic dictionaries come from the earliest Arabic dictionaries, books like Kitab al-Ain of al-Khalil ibn Ahmed in the early 800s, or the work of early Muslims who went around during the early decades, the first 150 years of Islam, collecting rare words from Bedouins, collecting poetry to understand the words of the Quran. And one of the things they found is this dhihar. And they also had hadiths in which the Prophet explained what dhihar meant. That it's when somebody says to their mother, to their wife, you're like the back of my mother to me, and therefore I'm repudiating you. Guess who transmitted the meaning of the word dhihar to the early Muslim dictionary collectors and scholars of language? The exact same people who transmitted hadiths to people like Bukhari and Malik. So the very language that we use to understand the Quran is transmitted by the same tradition that transmits the Sunnah of the Prophet to us. And if you think you can read the Quran without a dictionary, or you think you can understand words like dhihar, without finding that last entry in the dictionary that explains an ancient meaning of the word that's not used anymore, but which tells you about a custom in the time of the Prophet. If you think you can do that without tradition, you're fooling yourself. You're not just fooling yourself, but you're actually misleading those people who are claiming to call to a freed or reformed reading of the Quran. You cannot escape tradition. You cannot escape the need for the Sunnah of the Prophet in our understanding of the Quran.